First, we're taking a look, excuse me, at one of Christopher Nolan's most fascinating and underrated films, The Prestige, released in 2006, starring Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, Rebecca Hall, and David Bowie plays Tesla. So The Prestige is a psychological thriller about two rival musicians who become consumed by their obsession with defeating each other. This is a movie about magic, mystery, ambition, sacrifice, and most importantly, revenge. It's also the kind of movie that gets better the more times you watch it, which is kind of true for me. When first saw it, after the late great David Bowie passed away, I needed to see some of his work, and the first thing I was able to see was The Prestige. And let me say right now, it gets better in repeat viewings. The Prestige. So let's talk about The Prestige. So yeah, the story follows Robert Anger, right, played by Hugh Jackman, and then Alfred Borman, played by Christian Bale. At the beginning of the film, they're two art friends, follow assistants working alongside the musician Cutter, played by Michael Caine. But after a tragic accident, their relationship completely falls apart. From that point forward, Angier, how they sound. Angier and Borden become bitter rivals over the course of the film. Each one is determined to become the greatest musician in the world, and more importantly, each one wants to discover the other's secrets. What makes The Prestige so compelling is the way Christopher Nolan structures their story. The film is told through multiple timelines and perspectives, which is very unique. And the audience is constantly being asked to pay attention to every little detail. The movie itself is structured like a magic trick, with the three stages being the pledge, the turn, and the prestige. Very true. And just like a great magic trick, the Prestige encouraged you to look in one direction while the truth is hiding somewhere else. Hugh Jackman gives one of his best dramatic performances as Robert Angier. Angier starts as a talented musician, but his obsession with defeating Bourne slowly consumes him. Hugh Jackman does an excellent job showing how Angier's desires for revenge changes him as the story progresses. Really well done. And then you got Christian Bale, who is also fantastic as Afrin. His name is Afro. That's funny. Borden. Borden is much more a mysterious character. Bale gives him a quite intensity that makes him constantly question what he's thinking. Then you got Michael Caine, as always, is another highlight as Carter. He provides some of the film's emotional grounding while also helping explain the mechanics behind the magic. Then we have David Bowie as Nikola Tesla. It's a relatively small role, but Bowie brings the strange and memorable performance to the film. Visually, the Prestige has that classic sort of atmosphere, very realistic and very earthly tones. Very, not over the top kind of visuals, but the movie feels dark, mysterious, and almost gothic at times. The Victorian era setting is beautifully recreated. The cinematography makes the world of the stage magic film both exciting and dangerous. But what I think makes the Prestige truly special is the explosion or the deep dive of obsession. Angier and Bourne are willing to sacrifice almost everything in their lives to become the better musician. Their rivalry becomes so intense that they stop thinking about the consequences of their actions. The film asks the fascinating question: how much are you willing to sacrifice to achieve greatness? And that's what the movie is so powerful. This isn't really about a story about two musicians trying to entertain the audience. It's a story about two men who become prisoners of their own obsession. So, okay, everyone, this is where we're going to get into a mixed spoils for The Prestige, because there's a lot of twists and turns for this. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I highly recommend stopping here and watching it first. You've been warned. So let me get into now the big twist. Let's talk about the ending, really. One of the biggest twists in The Prestige is the revelation that Afrin Warren isn't actually one person. They are two identical twin brothers, crazy, who have been living their entire lives as one person. One brother is Afrin Warren, while the other is Fallon. They completely sacrifice their individual identities to maintain the illusion that they are one musician. This explains so many mysteries around Borden throughout the film. It explains why Borden sometimes behaves differently from other times. It explains his relationship with Sarah, why she constantly feels something is wrong, and it explains how he's able to perform the famous transporting man trick, which, funny enough, it was for sure by Cutter by Michael Caine, saying that it could be a double, which is was kind of true, but it was more of like a identical brother that was the trick. The sequel was simple, but the sacrifice was enormous. The two brothers are willing to give up their individual lives to maintain the greatest man, and that's the tragedy of the Prestige. Neither of them really wins. Bourne loses his brother, and eventually faces execution, where Angier gets the success and fame he desperately wanted, but he loses his humanity and ultimately dies. The rivalry between these two men destroys everything around them, and the final revelation becomes the entire movie even more interesting because, in a strange way, both men were right about the other. Bourne's secret was that he was actually two people. Then Angier's secret was that he was willing to become many people. The two musicians were constantly trying to figure out how the other one performed the trick, but they're also completely misunderstanding what the other was willing to sacrifice. And that's what makes the ending so brilliant. So, final thoughts and just wrapping up the Prestige. Happy 25th anniversary, Prestige. Overall, The Prestige is one of Christopher Nolan's most intelligent and rewatchable films. The performances from Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale are excellent. The story is incredible. Well, Memento, I have to say, up there. The clues are right there in front of you, but the movie tells you exactly what is happening, but you're so focused on trying to figure out the mystery that you don't always recognize the truth. The So that's why The Prestige gets better every rewatch. The first time you're watching, you're trying to figure out the secret. But then the second time, you're watching to see how the movie fooled you. And the third time, you're watching. My final rating for the Prestige is I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars. This is an incredible, well-crafted psychological thriller with fantastic performances and unforgettable story. One of the best endings in Christopher Nolan's filmography. If you haven't seen The Prestige, I highly recommend checking it out. If you've already seen it, let me know in the comments which musician you think it was more obsessed, Robert Angier or Borman. What do you think of the ending? Thank you so much for watching and listening to this respective review on the 20th anniversary of The Prestige. If you do enjoy this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more movie reviews and pop culture content. I'm Andreas, Pop Culture Guy. I will see you in the next video. Ciao.